Metro. Hey there guys, welcome back to Spies Fabrications, and today I'm going to be telling you some simple tips on how to diagnose a problem with your engine. And this applies to just about any engines, though most specifically this is a Toyota MR2 from 1985, and it has, I'm guessing, cylinder misfire. Well, we're gonna find out. And yeah, so one of the biggest things you're going to need to do in fixing something is figure out what the problem is, and that can sometimes be a little bit challenging. So I'm going to be going through the procedure and telling you how to do this, and by the end of the video you should be able to figure out what your problem is. I don't think I'll really be telling you how to fix it because that really varies between cars, but figuring out what the problem is a huge, like really massive step in fixing the problem. So let's go ahead and start with, I'll go ahead and start it up and you can see for yourself how it's running. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start it up and we'll see what it does. So as you see, the RPM's a little bit high, not that that really matters much. So I'm going to go ahead and floor it. That's really sluggish acceleration. And it does return to a very high idle. And you can hear when I just first hit the throttle, it kind of sounds like it's kind of sputtering, sneezing, I don't know, kind of thing. And that kind of smooths out a little bit toward higher RPM. It's very noticeable at low RPM though. Touch the gas. Yeah, very noticeable. Not nearly as noticeable at very high RPM. So, we don't have any smoke coming out of the tailpipe, so that means it is burning correctly. What it is burning, and that's one of the main things that makes me think cylinder misfire. If it's all cylinders are running poorly, you will get some kind of a smoke or unburned gas coming out of there, but there is no such thing. It looks clean. So that tells me it's pretty likely that there is only one cylinder that isn't firing at all. You can hear it from the outside here too. It's not running too smoothly. So there you go. We're going to go ahead and figure out what the problem is. Okay, so one of the first things you're going to want to do is really simple. You see these spark plugs here? If we're just going to assume one of them isn't firing. If one of them isn't firing, then all the ones that are firing, when you unplug it, that cylinder will stop firing and cause the engine to be bogged down pretty seriously. So we're going to start with number one and just unplug it. There you go. It struggles running, plug it back in, and it goes back up. Alright, let's go to number two. There you go. Nothing happened. Now, you can then take this and you see it's got a spark. The spark is absolutely there and pretty strong. So we're going to go ahead and plug that back in. As you hear, the engine doesn't pick up speed. It's not happy with it plugged in or unplugged. Again, bogs it down seriously. 4. Bogs it down seriously again. So, there you go. We know this isn't firing, but the question is why. Now obviously when you unplug it, this can tell us many things. Our distributor is working because we're getting spark. And that also means the wire is also working. We're getting spark. Now, the problem could be the spark plug, but it probably isn't. Spark plugs usually don't go bad, in a way, but we'll check that in a bit. But it could be compression, or it could be valve lash or something. They might not be opening enough or something. And that's what a compression test is going to tell us. So let's go ahead and do that. Now unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a compression tester. However, you can go to auto parts like O'Reilly's or Advance, AutoZone, Napa, and probably most or any of those will rent you one. And typically they rent it for free. How it works is you go in, you tell them you want to rent something, and they'll charge the full amount to your bank card, and then they give you a certain amount of time to use it and bring it back. When you bring it back, then they refund you the full amount again, so it doesn't, in the end, cost you anything. I would also recommend you buy one of these. You can get them for about 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks, but I mean, they are well worth it. What you don't do is make the mistake that I made, which was go on Amazon and buy one for 25 bucks. It does not work. It's so inaccurate. This is a nice Sears one, and it works really well. As far as I know, it's pretty accurate. So, very highly recommend you use one of these. You will absolutely need it. There is another test that you can do without it, but it's not really going to be nearly as useful, but it will tell you something if you absolutely cannot get your hands on one of these. I will be going over what you can do without one. Now, we're going to need to remove the spark plug, so we're just going to pop out the wire. And when you pull the wire, don't pull it on this part, otherwise you can stretch the wire. Pull it on the boot or whatever it gives you, just not the wire, unless you absolutely have to, in which case you'll probably want to replace your wire. Pretty easy. You just take a long extension, or sometimes you don't even need an extension, and a socket, a spark plug socket, and you remove it. Once we get the spark plug out, we look at it, and we see that it's kind of dirty looking, but it doesn't look like there's gas on it. There's oil on it, but that's just because the valve cover leaks there. So there's a little bit of oil in the spark plug hole now that I took the spark plug out. But anyway, what we're going to do is just take our compression tester and screw it into the hole. Now some compression testers will look like this, and they'll have this little thing. This is my cheap Amazon compression tester, and you just have somebody crank the engine while one person holds it in there really hard. Now this compression tester is not accurate, so I won't be using it. I'll use this one. Just screw it in all the way, and once we get the compression tester in, we're just going to unplug all of the other spark plugs, wires I mean. Come on. And then we're going to go ahead and turn it over a few times and then take our reading. Give me maybe 10 to 10 seconds. Now my reading is 170. So that's actually plenty of compression. If your compression is above 100 psi, then it's good. It's running compression. Now, doesn't mean 100 psi is good, but it's no reason for your cylinder to not run. So, because my compression is good, I can go ahead and plug these back in, and make sure you remember the order in which they went. So, because I know that it has to be fuel related. The valves are opening and closing like they should, and the cylinder walls are fine. Now, if you don't have the ability to get your hands on a compression tester, another thing you can do is, while the engine's cold, this one's hot, so I can't really do it, but if you have something like this with a rubber boot on it, you can stick it in there, in the hole, and then just cover the end and see if it kind of sneezes it out. You can just cover the hole somehow, lightly, and if it kind of sneezes and blows air past your finger or whatever, then you know your compression is good enough. So once you know that your compression is doing fine, you can go ahead and put your spark plug back in. And all spark plugs have a rating for how tight you make them. But if it's like this one, it has a long threading that's about so long. If it's one of those ones with short threading, definitely look up your torque spec. If it's like this one, it's longer, then what I do is do it finger tight. So that's finger tight. And then an additional 45 degrees, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. Then you can go ahead and put your spark plug wire back on. Now the first thing you're gonna check is injectors. Now if you have a throttle body injector, then this isn't really gonna work quite the same. But if you have a direct injection like this car, the first thing you're going to want to check is the wire. In this case, aha! There is my problem. Now you could start with this, but having an unplugged injector like this, I actually didn't expect this, but having this really is not something you're going to expect, neither is it common. So, that said, we're going to just go ahead and plug that back in. Its retainer clip apparently came off. I'm just going to put that back on. Alright, so problem should be fixed, but you can check your direct injection. You can go to the injectors. You could first try an injector cleaner. I haven't really had luck with that, but you could also try spraying it with carburetor cleaner after you're taking it out, and then hook the injector power on. It's a non-polarity, so it doesn't matter which way you hook it up, positive, negative, doesn't matter. You hook it up to a battery. Well, you hook it up to little, like, alligator clips, and then you hook one up to battery, and then you just tap the other on it, and you should hear a clicking sound coming from it. You don't hold it on there, because that'll burn it out real fast, but just a quick tap, 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 tap. And that's good enough. If you don't have a injector tester like I do, then that's what you can do. So, with no special tools, I mean, you can still do a lot when it comes to this. But, what if your engine is just weak? Well, the first few things you're going to want to check is this. Your filter, because those get dirty, and then they can become very, very restrictive. So you're going to want to check that. And if that's good, then I would move on to just taking it to the mechanic, because, I mean, past that, if you don't have extra tools, there's not much else you can do. However, as you saw, that can go a really long way. The mechanic would say, oh, that's a $160 diagnostic. I plugged in an injector. Wow. But you could save yourself so much money on something so simple. I doubt it'll be that, but what if it's a spark plug? What if it's just the coil? Some cars have coil packs right on top here. Those go bad. You could replace the distributor cap. If you don't have spark, I would check the wires and check them with like a ohm meter and see if they have continuity, and then go to the distributor cap if your car is equipped with one, and then that way you can see if it's worn out or whatever, because they do wear out sometimes. Let's go ahead and see if that fixed this. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and start it and see if it runs better. Dude, the starter barely even touched it. That is much better acceleration. Still idling a little bit high, but I mean, look at that acceleration. I'm gonna floor it for just a bit. That's way better, and you don't hear the kind of hesitation or misfire, I guess the sound is. Very, very smooth. Listen to that thing purr. Oh yeah. See that? I unplugged the injector and it sounds exactly like it did. Plug it back in. That was the only problem. Seriously. And like I said, if you're thinking of taking to a mechanic, you can save yourself so much money by just doing this simple, maybe half-hour inspection yourself. And you can save hundreds. Alright, so that's that. I have my car purring outside here, and my brother's gonna be happy because, I mean, that's actually his car. But we were driving it and just doing some 0 to 60 times. And suddenly I lost power, like significant amount of power. We were like, it was just working. Did we blow it up? We thought for sure we'd blown something up. We rebuilt this only 350 miles back, and we thought maybe it was too soon to be crazy and rev it that much, but I found out today that was not the case, and we're very pleased with that. So I hope this video helps you diagnose your car and saves you a lot of money by avoiding the mechanic. Not to say the mechanics aren't useful, they're great to have around. But, you know, support local businesses, okay? But still, everyone's got a pocketbook and everyone's got a limit to it. Some people more than others. But everyone pretty much is going to want to save money. So hopefully this video helps you save money, and I hope this video is helpful to you. Check out the rest of the videos on our channel, and have a great day.